I'm Tech Sergeant Michael Crane from the 139th Airlift Wing, and I'll be your host for this episode of MoGuard TV. In this episode, we'll focus on what it means to be a true citizen warrior. We'll also introduce you to National Guard service members with unique civilian hobbies that complement their service. Have you ever heard of road rash? What about road hash? Army National Guard recruiter, Staff Sergeant Elizabeth Hash, will tell you all about it in our top story.
I joined the Missouri Guard in 2000, and then I went to Arizona in 2002, came back to Missouri in 2006, and started working full-time. I missed people. Working in supply, you know, you work with a lot of equipment and numbers down in a dungeon in your supply room, so I wanted to go and socialize again. So recruiting was a good fit. Being in recruiting, we are, like you said, mentors for all of our recruits, so we train them to be successful in basic training. So they do look up to us, and we do lead them, and we lead by example and show them the proper way to be a soldier. When I came home from deployment, I was bored. I needed something to do. I wanted a team sport. I didn't want to just have to go to the gym by myself. I wanted to be on a team again. So I started doing a little bit of research, and lo and behold, there was roller derby in Kansas City. I was like, what? This is great. This league of 80 women, I was like, wow, I wonder what this is going to be like. They were all a lot like me. It made it really easy to come into it and fit right in.
Real quick, for this scrimmage, the main focus is working on our offensive plays together. Let's not play like we played last week. Last week was crazy, and it's a wonder nobody got seriously injured. So let's bring it in, play our game, and focus on these key elements.
We have a lot of rules. So our rules are there to keep us safe and to prevent injuries. We wear the proper equipment, and we have to do a minimum skills test before we're allowed to hit each other so that we know we're ready. And part of the test is to be able to receive and give hits safely. So there's a lot of training that goes into it. You don't just strap on skates and start hitting people or elbowing. That's not allowed. So we train a lot. My maiden name is Hash, and road hash, I thought it sounded kind of like road rash. I wanted to do something kind of hardcore. It's roller derby, so I didn't want something girly. So when I line up behind someone, or if I'm trying to get through the pack, I will kick my knees up and do high knees and get them right under their thigh area. Never the knees, but like right in the butt and in the thighs. It's really hard when someone does that to keep your position. So I do it to take their position or to get around them. It doesn't always work, but it's really annoying. So when I line up behind people, they're like, no. They know what's gonna happen. With everything I do, with the things I post on Facebook, with how I behave in public or how I behave at after parties, you've got to conduct yourself a certain way. And it's more having respect for yourself than anything else. But when you have respect for yourself, then all of it kind of falls into line. But yeah, it is pretty cool. I get to be a soldier. I get to be a roller derby player. Most importantly, I get to be a mom.
Sergeant Mark Owen recently spent some time with Captain Amber Jones, a Missouri National Guard soldier who is also a hardcore competitor in the martial arts.
Thank you guys all for coming out tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
To stay fit to fight, Missouri National Guard members play sports, have hobbies, and find other ways to be active. As a kid, Captain Amber Jones was involved in karate and softball. In college, she discovered jiu-jitsu. This immediately changed her life.
I saw him practicing and how hard the practices were and just the amount of physical effort and abilities that everybody was displaying, and I loved it from day one.
The newfound love for this physically aggressive sport drove Captain Jones to add it into her already energetic lifestyle. Her performance at her first meeting with the Kirkwood Judo Club near St. Louis captured the attention of many members. Sensei Russ Little was immediately impressed with her unique skills and distinct passion for the sport.
You won't find anybody tougher than her. I mean, mental toughness, she's just there, and she won't back down. I'm certain that has a fair amount to do with her military training too, but like I said, she is definitely a special breed. The truth of the matter is, as a coach, you can't ask any more of her than that.
Fellow club member Tracy Hangley, a third-degree black belt, compliments the captain's fighting style.
She has a totally different fighting style than I do because she's so small. I can see Amber's military training whenever she fights and whenever she trains, because she's very focused. She's fast and she's strong and she's very intense whenever she's on the mat.
The intensity of her training depends on which competition she is gearing up for. Though she takes her local competition seriously, she does enjoy traveling the globe competing internationally. 6th-degree black belt, Sensei Kunhe could not be more pleased to see Amber in the national spotlight.
Oh, it makes us very proud, and I think she's a good ambassador for it too, because she won't just show up at a tournament, do her competition, and then leave. She will talk to other people. She'll try and learn things from other people.
Just starting in my international competition and representing the United States the last few years, to sit down to dinner and I've got a gold medal Olympian sitting in front of me and a bronze medal Olympian sitting here. It's really humbling, but it's a great experience. I feel a lot of pride when I get to stand up there.
After 4 years on the World Armed Forces Judo team, she has a bigger goal in mind for her judo career.
I would like to get a gold medal at nationals. Getting into the Olympics is extremely difficult. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing, and that is everybody's ultimate goal when they're passionate about a sport. And then I would like to medal at the World Military Olympics in Korea.
1 minute.
Sensei Kunhe has no doubt Amber will reach her goals and is very proud to have been there from the start of her growth with the St. Louis club.
Now or never. Time's running out. Come on, come on, come on. When she sets a goal, she does anything and everything she can to attain it. Just an exciting thing. You know, seeing your child grow up and become successful and stuff like that. This is just another facet of life where she works hard, she trains hard, she's dedicated, and she's reaping the benefits.
I enjoy judo. It's what I do. It's what I'll do probably for the rest of my life until I can't do it anymore. Next to serving in the military. But.
Reporting for the Missouri National Guard Public Affairs Office, I'm Mark Owen.
We'll have our feature story when we return on MoGuard TV.
Sergeant Jim Davis joined the Air National Guard for a new career in intelligence. They helped him pay for college, gave him a brand new life. Now, he works with top secret technology and helps fly unmanned aircraft 6,751 miles away. And because he's in the Air National Guard, he goes home 2.1 miles away.
Dana Elise Watson went to Whiteman Air Force Base to give you an in-depth profile of a pageant queen who wears combat boots.
I was just gonna take it for a spin. Is that all right?
Specialist Nikit Finley, a member of the Missouri National Guard, spent the day visiting National Guard soldiers at Whiteman Air Force Base.
Oh yeah, you just give me a tour.
She was recently crowned Miss Missouri in the Miss Missouri United States pageant.
When I won, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it was me.
She works as a full-time human resources specialist at the 311th Brigade Support Battalion in Lexington, Missouri.
You know, whenever you're in your uniform, you have to be so professional, and whenever I'm in this crown and this sash, it's the same feeling. It's like I stand for something.
Finley said she became a soldier because she wanted to serve her community.
I wanted to do my part and join and serve my country and my nation and the people in my community. That's why I chose the National Guard.
It is that same passion for her community that inspired her to compete in the Miss Missouri United States pageant. The pageant was her first. Finley said she was not raised as a pageant competitor, but rather a tomboy.
I had like short hair because I was such a tomboy. I had 5 brothers, so I was not very girly growing up.
She says her tomboyish ways are still with her.
It'd be kind of hard to drive this or fly it in my dress. Heels would be so good. Walking in heels is hard for me sometimes, though.
When she doesn't wear heels, she likes to wear platforms. And speaking of platforms, her platform is the Wounded Warrior Project.
I'm a soldier, and if I went overseas and was injured, then I would want someone to help me. What better thing than to help my fellow soldier? Or what better platform to have than someone fighting for our nation and willing to give their life so that we can all be free.
Bringing awareness means she must attend several community events. She attended one called Pars for Patriots. The event was a golfing fundraiser, and the goal is similar to that of the Wounded Warrior Project, to raise money for local wounded veterans. There you go. Her team was comprised of other National Guardsmen.
I've never met them until that day, but we played good together, so we're a good team.
Finley hopes to continue her service to wounded veterans in the future.
I'm looking to be a physical therapy assistant, and my goal is to work in a VA hospital, possibly. So my passion is really military related.
She hopes to continue serving as a pageant queen as well. The National Miss United States pageant was held in early July in Washington, D.C. There is no talent competition in the Miss United States pageant, but if there were, she knows exactly what to do.
I probably have to do push-ups. Pretty good at those.
She said that her fellow guardsmen wished her well in the competition.
I've had lots of support from the Missouri Army National Guard. They, ever since they found out that I was running, it's just been like, good luck and way to go and good job, and thank you so much for representing the Guard in such a positive light.
As a pageant competitor, she hopes that the audience sees her as more than just a pageant queen.
I want to be able to represent the Guard. I want them to see not just me, but see someone that's willing to stand for something like the Wounded Warrior Project and be able to raise awareness. When I'm up on that stage, it's not for me, it's not for myself, it's for other soldiers.
From Missouri National Guard Public Affairs, I'm Dana Elise Watson.
National Guard captain who spends his nights as a knight. Dana Elise Watson takes you into the current Middle Ages with the story.
The SCA in general, it is a global not-for-profit educational corporation that focuses on medieval history and reenactment. It's funny because it's not just one hobby, it's a whole bunch of hobbies, because there's, sometimes you're doing some metal working or some leather working or something else, so you might be doing some SCA related thing. I also do some armoring, certainly enough to fix my own stuff, but I can make a helmet if I need to, or a set of elbows or whatever. The rig that I fight in is 11th, 12th century Crusader. Knights wear white belts to symbolize their oath of knighthood, and then chains around their neck to symbolize their oath of fealty. Coat of arms medievally was used so you could identify somebody on the battlefield. You could tell who was who and where they were. It's like a military uniform of today. It's pretty easy to see the guy over there that has, a bright blue thing with big yellow ermine spots on it and a big red and yellow cross, which is what my personal coat of arms looks like. So, my girlfriend is involved, and she's the one that sewed that pretty amazing surcoat that I was wearing, and sometimes she does want to kill me for my choice in coat of arms, because all of those individual ermine spots are all, each of those pieces is hand sewn on that. So the fundamental thing to know about the fighting is all based on the honor system. So fundamentally it's up to the person that gets hit to acknowledge that they've been struck what we call a good blow. And that means it has to be hard enough so that it would have, in the armor of the time that we're considering, that it would have been an incapacitating blow. We're not saying that it would have lopped your arm off or your head off or anything else. If you get hit a good blow in the arm, then you lose the use of that arm for the rest of that bout. If you get hit in the leg, then by convention you drop to your knees to continue. And if you get in the head or the body with a good blow, then you're out. Getting out and getting into a really intense physical confrontation with somebody, being able to absolutely put yourself there, out there on the line, fight as hard as you want, and know that they're trying as hard as they can to best you too, and just putting yourself to the test that way. And for me, there's a certain mental zone that I get into when I'm really fighting my best, and I find that really, really attractive. It's almost addicting. The kings are chosen actually by a tournament. If you win that tournament, then the first 3 months you are prince and your consort is princess with you. And then you step up and become the king, and then so it just keeps revolving through. And I've been lucky enough to win that tournament 3 different times in the time I've been in the SCA. So you sort of get to practice being a soldier in the SCA, especially if you do the fighting thing and do the battles. There's actually a pretty good number of people, not just in the Guard, but just military in general. It's attractive to people who are attracted to the military life. And it's funny, I tell people it's my other hobby where I put on funny clothes and they call me a different name.
There's more to come when we return on MoGuard TV.
I lost my brother Frank in the Battle of Iwo Jima.
He served on 4 combat tours in Vietnam, in Iraq, Afghanistan. There's a life that was lost behind that pin.
I put it on for my wife.
For my husband, my brother,
My dad.
my son.
We wear it because we honor those that we lost.
To learn more about the stories behind the Gold Star Pins, visit goldstarpins.org.
Fair St. Louis hosted a salute to the troops during the nation's biggest birthday party in St. Louis recently. Sergeant Mark Owen reports.
Americans from sea to shining sea gathered to their local cities and towns to celebrate 238 years of America's independence. The Heartland was no different, as thousands gather in the Gateway City to listen to live music, indulge themselves with food, and to thank those who serve today that keep our country free.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Missouri National Guard Specialist James Steffi from the 1035th Maintenance Company took this time to meet and greet with locals. He is one of many who answered questions or even invited future guardsmen to talk with a recruiter.
You get a lot of approaches, especially being in a uniform. Getting out and you meet new people and you bring new faces and new talents to the military.
Absolutely.
Because every person has their own talent.
Talent is exactly what the Missouri National Guard's 135th Army Band brought to Fair St. Louis. The Army song played as a platoon of 70th Troop Command soldiers marched to be honored during the Salute the Troops event. The public chanted. The 3175th Military Police presented the colors behind Specialist Shannon Strife as she belted out our national anthem.
By the dawn's early light.
Heather Harrison traveled from Springfield, Illinois to celebrate this extended weekend in St. Louis with her family.
It's nice to, have a large group of people be able to come and recognize them on 4th of July. I love 4th of July. And one day is not enough.
Reporting for the 70th Mobile Public Affairs Detachment, I'm Missouri National Guard Sergeant Mark Owen.
Soldiers from the Missouri National Guard's 27th Recruiting and Retention Battalion spent 2 days teaching young women leadership and team building. Staff Sergeant Michael Williams has the report.
Stay motivated. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
The Missouri National Guard Recruiting and Retention Battalion conducted a leadership and team building challenge for 2 Kansas City high school volleyball teams at Camp Clark. The 2-day event exposes them to Army training, team building exercises, and lessons on how to deal with challenges that life may bring. Sergeant First Class Dan Thompson says they developed a program to help others focus on characteristics of being a good leader.
What the program was designed for is we had talked to a lot of coaches and stuff throughout the state of Missouri and asked them what kind of service could we provide as the Missouri Army National Guard that would be a benefit to your teams. And one of the big things that come back and one of the things that they talked about the most was the leadership aspect. So we developed a program basically to key in on the leadership aspects, the characters of a good leader, what makes up a good leader, and also the team building side, what it's like to work together to be a cohesive team. And we found that a lot of the characteristics that make you a really good leader are also the characteristics that make you a really good team. So the two interchange really well. A lot of the communication, the cohesion, building that trust, building the relationships is a really key part. And so what we want to do is be able to equip those individuals to become better leaders in the future, not only at their school and their team, but also whenever they leave high school and they enter into the civilian workforce.
What needs to go for our team is to build team unity, let them understand each other, how each other flows, not only on the court, but also off the court in the real world. We want them to gain an understanding of real life expectations. From doing different activities to living in a different environment, and how to trust each other.
What we do is we put them in a building, kind of the atmosphere like we would be in basic training or an AIT. A lot of the trainings we do about a 45-minute presentation on leadership and team building and why that's important, the characteristics of each. From there, we'll come and do events like what we see we're doing right now with the convoy rollover simulator, the weapons engagement system rollover, and the virtual convoy rollover. And again, the big emphasis on that is twofold. One, they get to see a little bit about what we do and how we train. And obviously, the communication piece, the team building piece is all a part of every one of those events. We teach them individual team movements. And again, it always goes back to having a leader of that particular group, and that leader being able to communicate to each one of them the objectives, what it is they're trying to do, how they're going to get there, what they're going to do in order once they reach that point.
I think that it's like really exposing me, like, because you don't get to see this when people say they're in the military. I never knew you like come to a place and do this simulation type stuff, and it's really nice and neat how they got it all set up. But I just really like the fact that I was able to come and attend.
The girls were exposed to a military structured environment. Bulock says she is learning some important leadership skills, and she's planning on using them to help improve her coaching techniques.
Hold it. Lean it left.
One of my coaches that I worked with said I'm kind of a laid-back coach, you know, so I think just from the sergeants and the different leadership that has ran the camp has showed me that, you know, you can be aggressive.
Thompson says the Missouri National Guard Recruiting and Retention Battalion will host the camp to any organization that is interested.
We'll do any high school, it doesn't have to be athletes, it can be student council organizations or bands or any type of school activity, including teachers and counselors if that's something they want to do.
Reporting for the Missouri National Guard Public Affairs Office, I'm Michael Williams.
The National Guard State Partnership Program has allowed the United States to build mutually beneficial relationships with 74 countries around the world. Sergeant Mark Owen tells us about the Missouri National Guard's partnership with the Republic of Panama.
The Missouri National Guard recently hosted members of the Panamanian Public Forces for a week-long subject matter expert exchange at the Ike Skelton Training Center in Jefferson City, Missouri. The visit was part of the National Guard State Partnership Program, which officially sponsored a partnership between the Show Me States and Panama in 1996.
We've been in Panama doing various road building, well digging projects since 1985.
Lieutenant Colonel Rebecca Segovia says the Guard routinely works with civilian agencies. She adds, this is suited to helping Panamanian agencies improve interagency communications and networking.
They've had a lot of great strides in that area in the last year and a half, and it's been noted, and they're very proud of themselves too.
Muy buena. It is very important. The coordination and partnership of working together with Panama and Missouri is very strong. I like it very much.
Reporting for the 70th Mobile Public Affairs Detachment, I'm Army Sergeant Mark Owen.
It's now my honor to turn you over to our Adjutant General, Major General Steve Danner, who will share some final thoughts during tag time.
Thank you, Tech Sergeant Crane. And thank you for joining us today on MoGuard TV. George Washington once wrote, "When we assumed the soldier, we did not lay aside the citizen." Today's Missouri National Guard is made up of a diverse force of citizen soldiers and airmen. Each one brings their own skills and ability to the National Guard. Our force is drawn from the best our state has to offer. Our 11,500 soldiers and airmen hail from farms, cities, and small towns across the state. They represent the true diversity of Missouri. That diversity, focused into a shared sense of mission, makes us strong. As Guardsmen, our soldiers and airmen have civilian occupations. Many take on other active roles outside their everyday civilian jobs. They have hobbies, they play team sports, others are active in community organizations and volunteer for charitable causes while still spending time with their families. All have something in common. Each service member dedicates part of their lives to serving the community. They are always ready, always there to serve you in times of need. On behalf of Governor Jay Nixon and all our soldiers and airmen, thank you for your service and support.